So, yo, what's up, guys? Here are the post-regional breakdown. All right, man, what happened? There's no crazy deck profile. Like, didn't top the event, didn't get the invite. I didn't get my invite. I got bopped. I went X4 by round 8. Round 8 knocked me into X4, and so by then it was there was no shot. And yeah, in terms of the overall experience, I want to say that coolest thing ever, actually. That was the most fun I've ever had at a regional outside of the playing. I mean, the playing was fun too. I love being able to play water at a competitive level, and just like it's like all the stars are aligning. Like for me, like I get to play my favorite deck, and it works pretty well. And yeah, it has problems, but like it competes, and it's like it's a legitimate strategy, and it's so much fun. But yeah, not done rambling on that. So I got to meet so many people who know about the channel, and I got to have a couple awesome interactions that literally just made it for me. Like I was just so happy to go to that regional, so happy to meet so many of you guys. Yeah, man, so many awesome experiences. So I really appreciate that from you guys. That was amazing. For those of you who met me and said hi and all that goodness, just amazing. Bless you guys. But yeah, so moving on from that, so I guess we'll go over round experience. So let's see, round 1, I play against Buster Dragon, Bestial, Dogmatica, Fiendsmith. I lose the dice roll, open only engine. He goes full combo, like Buster Lock, Dogmatica cards, sets up like the Bestial, like Regained. It has Bestial's Live, and also sets up the Fiendsmith Caesar. I open only engine, and I was definitely, nerves were high, like super high, like honestly higher than I'm used to. That was really weird for me. Maybe I had a lot of pressure on myself, but yeah, like the nerves were killing me for sure those first couple of rounds. But yeah, so game 1 I open all engine, and I start playing through his stuff, and I'm doing really well, and then I just kind of tunnel visioned. It just started, it kind of happened like, you know, in the first game of the day, where it's like there was the correct line, and I just missed it, and I went the wrong way, and I lost because of that. And then game 2, full combo, I win, sure. And then game 3, it was kind of like the same thing, and it was actually the same. It was the same scenario. There's another scenario where I probably, well, that one, this game 3 was a little less. I would for sure had it, but I could have done better plays. And so I guess just kind of, and then keep continuing on. Then I played against another, I think it was round 4, played against another pure Rizal player, and he taught me that Dweller is just demolishing me. You know, Dweller, that was my first time like really getting Dwellered, and I've been doing it before in the tournament, but yeah, this one just felt unwinnable. So that was tough, and then after he destroys me and beats me with the Dweller, he has me sign it, and it's an Aldi Dweller, and he's clapping me with it, and then he's having me sign it. It's, oh my god, it's so messed up. I'm telling you right now, in case you're watching this, buddy, dude, next one, it's all me, brother. All right, I'm taking it, I promise. But yeah, so that one, I think I lost to myself again. I had 2 of those where I had lost just due to my play, and that was one of them. Where game 3, I went first, I had the line, and I just went the wrong way, and I tunnel visioned on Lancia instead of doing like a double infantry pop play, and I could have done better. And so that was also on me. And then just kind of like running through my other 2 losses. I had another game versus Pure Rizal where this was the one where there's nothing I could do. I lost the roll. Game 1, I hand trap him once, but he still ends on like double set detonator, and the double set was double strike, and he like striked my Teus, ashed my squad, and then he had to strike back up for, I can't remember what my other play was, but it was just, there was no chance. Strike really hurts this deck. And then game 2, I go first. I open Prince Dragoons, triple squad, and I normal Dragoons, and I'm just like, I just need one of these to go through. Send Dragoons for cost, attempt to add, he bailers, and then I go Dragoons effect to add, and he ashes it, and I can't play, and then he just kills me from there. And then my last loss in round 8 was to another Malice player, and this was another one where I lost the roll. I didn't open enough non-engine. I think I opened like 1 maybe. No, I lied actually. Game 1 I opened Flu Ross. I Flu Rossed him, and he just ended on, he went engage, grabbed Widow Anchor. He ended on the big mouse that has a quick effect banish. He got the mouse trap in his back row to banish. I think I only drew like twice or so. And then he also had another. Oh, he also thrusted me for an impulse. So he had impulse, Widow Anchor, the trap, banishing the mouse one, and then the mouse monster itself that banishes. And like I couldn't play through that with the hand I had. And then game two, I go full combo, and then game three, I just he drops shifter, he can't play, I can't play, and then he kills me. He finishes me off. Well, he didn't actually kill me, but he was able to put up a big enough a board, and then I think he also had strike, where it was another opportunity where, or no, it was impulse, where I had. Where like I had a full water hand, I was ready to break his board, but then I started with like Teus send something, and he had just stopped the Teus, and stopping the Teus was like, it was really detrimental. So that was tough. But yeah, so those are like kind of around of like my losses, and yeah, the main thing I learned and took away from all that in that regional was I think the locals I'm playing at just isn't doing it for me. My locals did not prepare me whatsoever for this event. I was not prepared for how hard it would be to play into the meta, and I think a part of me kind of knew that, and I liked playing at my locals because it was easier. I definitely think that's the reason why I hung out there for so long. But after how that day went, it just really fired me up to want to get better and do better. So there's actually another locals on Saturdays in Tinley Park that I'm going to start going to instead. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to record there, and it's supposed to be a lot more meta. It's supposed to be where a lot of our strong players go. So I'm really excited to go there, get humble, get beat up a little bit, and then just start working, just getting better. I'm getting a top. I know I am. There's no way I'm not going to get top with water. I mean, this is the perfect time, and it's feasible, and it's mine to take, and I'm going to get there. It's just take some time, take some effort, and some practice, and yeah, so that's a little bit of the experience. Probably rambled that a little bit, but whatever. But yeah, so we're still going to do a deck profile. Might as well, I guess. This weekend I am going to take what I believe is to be, I don't know if I would say a corrected version, but just based off of how the day went, I do have a revised deck list of what I think I would have played if I could, go back in time and then resubmit a new deck list. So I'll have one more local session. Should be with meta, and it should be with the version I think I am set on for this format of water before we move on to the new support that's coming out. So yeah, we'll just hop into the deck profile now. All right, so yeah, let's get into it. So obviously, so we played the hybrid variant today, or for the regional, and it's a 43 card list. In terms of the deck size, it was honestly a really good number. With the amount of engine in here I have and non-engine I have. Also taking into account I'm playing the Charmies. I had really good hands, honestly. I had one legitimate brick hand with the single prince, single dragoons, triple squad, but that felt like more of a variance brick. That's just a really unlikely, and it wasn't even a real brick. It was playable. If I drew a card, who knows? Maybe I have the extender. But yeah, so we'll just get into it. Starting with the Atlanteans, we have triple prince. Nothing more to talk about. We all know one infantry. So I went back to one infantry because I wanted to maximize consistency and playable cards. And if I wasn't playing playable cards, playable engine cards, then I'd be playing non-engine. And so I decided to do one infantry. Hindsight, I think the more truly my playstyle leans towards engine heavy, trying to break a board, rather than the non-engine stop my opponent and trying to play through a half board. And so with that in mind, I think the infantry does need to go to 2 for me, because there were multiple scenarios. I would think at least 2 to 3 occasions where the second infantry would have came up, and it's not that it was mandatory that I had to have it, but it would have made certain interactions a lot easier and require a lot less resources to go through to get through certain blockades of engine. Next, triple shrine, god card. If anytime I was able to search this card, I was safe. I was playing. I was winning. Triple dragoons. Consistency, love this card. I actually love to open. Honestly, my favorite hands are probably double dragoons, Teus, pike. Those are probably my favorite engine hands. Next in the Mermails, triple Teus. This card is insane. Another god card. Played the one Megalo. One Megalo. In the first couple rounds, I opened it in a couple starting hands, and does not feel great when you open it. But at the same time, it's a really strong board breaker just because you're able to get a bunch of your water triggers going, and it also baits interaction because people are afraid of you grabbing the Abyss spell, and all they hear is search, and they go, oh, I better stop that. And if they don't, it's just a level 7 on board, and being able to not even so much attack twice is relevant, but being able to tribute off cards. So I found myself, reviving. Because I only had the 1 infantry, I found myself at times reviving the infantry just so I could tribute off a Megalo to pop another card. So that was really relevant. And overall, the Megalo was fine. I never wanted to cut it, and it was solid. I used it to break boards at times, and it did its job. Next, we played Triple Pike. As you guys maybe saw with deck profile, he played 2. So in his main reason, yes, consistency, and but also the way his playstyle goes, he doesn't resolve Deep Sea King as much, and so if you're not resolving as much, why waste so many resources on it? And I totally understand that. From my point of view, I think next 6 normal summons in a 40 card list was just fine. I felt I was always happy to open Pike or Prince, and even a combination of the two is never that bad because especially if you're playing second to a board, depending on the other cards in your hand, Pike discarding Prince is sometimes a stronger play than another. But yeah, and then we were always summoning, and then always having maximum amount of bodies to summon off the Deep Sea King, and the 3 is also the good number for me because typically like with the normal Prince play, normal Prince send Dragoons, add Shrine, Dragoons adds Mulan, and then Shrine you tribute Prince to summon Deep Sea King from deck. Prince will summon back Dragoons, so you have Deep Sea King, Dragoons, then you get your triple Pike, and that's how you get like your double toe play without like committing any other resources. You don't have to use Cold Enemy, you don't have to use Poseidra. It's nice, and so I did really like Triple Pike. Would play again. Next we got Triple Squad. Hated that I opened 3 copies in one hand. That's crazy, but overall, card's great. And then I still play the 1 gun. Gun was nice, man. Gun's a really big deal just because you're constantly trying to trade resources with your opponent, and just gun offers another option to just to continue threatening bodies on board. As well as the main reason I like gun is because the way I search in this deck, my Prince is usually the one searching Shrine, and so if Prince is usually searching Shrine and Pike or Teus are usually searching Squad, then that means let's say if Teus search Squad, then Pike is searching Gun, or vice versa. If a starting play was like normal Pike and then adding Squad, then later in the turn if I ever get to Teus, it's adding Gun. And so this is like I always noticed that there was always an extra level 3 I was able to add, and Gun was that perfect slot, and it was a really solid extender. So yeah, I like Gun too. Although I am sad that Gun probably does have to leave when the new support comes out. Next for One of Waters, we played the Mulan. Mulan's crazy. I will say one thing with the Mulan that's awkward and I had to kind of accept was that when you play off the normal Prince Send Dragoons add Shrine play, depending on if you don't have like a solid other hand of Waters and you can't really extend, depending on the hand I had, I would typically actually just not search the Mulan and just search Minstrel instead, because I would decide that the double Toad plus at least 1 infantry prop was plus Lancia was always stronger than the Mulan play, just because of the fact that one, you get to see their hand, and that's almost good enough, and just being able to hit the nibs was so important. So typically I would actually search Minstrel instead of the Mulan off the Prince Dragoon send ad, and then later in the turn, if I did want to use Coral, I would use Coral to summon back Minstrel, and then Synchro. I would use the 2 Bahamut's I made for double toe play, make Coral summon back Minstrel, and then sync these off for Lancia. And so usually my end board was it would be sometimes it would just be Coral, double toed, Lancia. Sometimes if I had a Teus involved as well, then I could get the Coral off board and make a king. But it's always hand dependent. But yeah, so I guess just continuing. Mulan was cool, but I did make it a little less. But whenever I did resolve it, I always won, 100%. It's definitely a super strong card. You just have to you have to check their hand first. You can't just throw it out there, because if you aim to do a Mulan play without checking their hand, then you'll just get heavily punished by Mulan and you'll just lose. And then so Deep Sea King was crazy. Love that card. That's how my deck is going. Played the 1 Ran. 1 because yes, it makes Lancia, which is engine in the deck, I guess. It's like an end board piece. But then also I do like that I just have more cards in the deck that do different things. You have Teus, Megalo, and now also Ran and Shrine. And Pike, all options to discard, all doing different things. And yeah, I mean, Ran is cool because especially if you're discarding dead waters that don't do anything. If you're discarding any waters into a Rhizo board, they can't interact with it, so you can just like hop right into a Lancia or hop right into a Chenning or Gamir, and so I do like that about Gamir. And then it's just it's just another card that helps you start playing. And Rand's also a really good extender when you're not able to check for nib and you get your board nibbed, and then you can at least go Rand into a Lancia play just to like have some kind of follow up. Next we play the one general for the Lancia. And then real quick with this one, general power level for me went down a little bit. It's still really good, and originally I was blaming some of my losses off the fact that I played Lancia and played general, and blaming like this card for not being powerful enough. I definitely regret saying that and speaking that, because in actuality, all my losses just came from me. None of my losses actually like really came from my deck. If anything, there were some maybe 2 main deck cards that maybe should have changed, and maybe. But mainly I think it lived in the side deck. The side deck I think was pretty weak. We'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, general was fine. But the ruling with general is that, so let's say your opponent normal summon, you have general on field, then your opponent normal summons Ash, and then Ash effect to add Poplar. When they activate Ash on field to add Snake Eye Poplar, they will resolve the effect, adding Poplar to hand, and then they discard a card. And I think I just thought that. They had to discard the card before they resolve, like, I guess as they're resolving their effect. I don't really know how it works. It never really made sense to me. I asked the judge eventually, like after like the first round or so, and then he let me know that that's how the ruling was. And so it just seems a little weird. But I mean, in actuality, if your M board's double toed plus Lancia, your opponent really just can't play through that. Even if they're like resolving their effects and then discarding cards, it's still strong. But it's definitely not as strong as I thought it was. But yeah, so that was general. I personally would not play the Lancia engine again. I would cut it, but not because the Lancia engine is bad. I think it truly is just outside of like the way I streamline the deck, and it kind of it distorts my vision of the lines that I see, because I look at Lancia as an option when I think most of the time it was never the right option for me at the certain time. But that's strictly on me. It's not on the Lancia. Lancia is fine. It's a good card, and General is a great card. It's just my playstyle personally. Then yeah, the 1 minstrel, the hand rep. I did not miss the second or third. I mean, yeah, you would love to play 3 minstrel, but it's just like we gotta be realistic here. We're playing a very, very fast game, and you can't be playing cards that don't actually get you going. Minstrel does not like get you going at all. It's a great way to see the opponent's hand and continue your plays, but it only helps you if you're already playing. It doesn't help you start playing unless you get really lucky and you open Minstrel Dragoons or Minstrel Squad, and that's great, but you're not always going to do that. And so yeah, a Minstrel is a one of for sure. And then I played for engine one ofs. We just played Triana and 1-for-1. No Deep Sea Aria here. Also, I did cut the Deep Sea Diva because I did admit to myself it's too many normal summons, and it's a little silly of an extender. And then yeah, Toronto was great. 1-for-1 was great. No complaints there. And then yeah, into the non-engine. So my buddy was not able to go to this tournament, and he had 2 Fluros. So I went from 1 Fluros to 3. So I got to main 3 or all 6 Charmies, and when I saw them, they were very powerful. There were also times where I saw them going first, and that really sucked. The water one, whenever I saw that, it was very nice. I never really saw the water one versus Malice, which was also very nice to see. But then opening both, opening Charmings always made me feel safe. And although I did lose a couple times playing into a board that I charmed, they were still really strong cards. Fluros Fluros is stronger than Prulia in this current meta. But whenever I saw Prulia for the Rhizo matchup, that felt really nice. So yeah, I definitely like the Charmies. And in my opener packs for the regional, I did actually pull my own second one. So in the future, I will be running a 3-2 lineup until this gets reprinted, or I just pull another pack or so. So yeah, currently I have 5 Charmies. Very nice. Next we played 3 Ash because we got to hit the Charmies when they use them on us, which we did do a couple times. Very nice. Generically, it's very strong. Yeah, it has a lot of cards to hit. Ash was fine. A little weak against Malice, for definitely. But other than that, we liked Ash. Callby and Ash are kind of the same cards. It's like you almost have to play these in the main deck even if you don't want to, just because you want to hit the Charmies. And then Callby, yes, Charmies as well, but then also Shifter and yeah, random stuff. Callby's fine. No complaints. 3 Imperm. I only saw Imperm, I think, one time, and I drew it as a 6 card. It was a board breaker, and I negated the detonator, and I went off to win, and that was great. So Imperm did the thing it's supposed to do. And then my last 2 slots here, I played 2 Impulses. These were potentially also going to be 2 Talents. And I think hindsight, I actually do wish they were Talents. Now, I think in looking back at looking back at the times I did have Impulse. I had Impulses versus Mouse, and it did fine. I had an Impulse versus Pure Ryzeal hitting the plugin. That was great. So Impulse is definitely a strong card, especially when I would get like a late Impulse after using an Imperm or using like a first Impulse and then be able to like negate and destroy something. That was awesome. It's just that Impulse wasn't bad. I think Talents are just also a really good card that I maybe would have liked to experiment having. Although the changes I would make in the main deck currently are obviously we have the 1 Charmeleave. I'd probably get rid of the 2 Impulses. I would cut the General. I would debatably cut the Ran, although I don't think so. And then I would play a second, whatever it is. I play a second Infantry. So I would probably do something like play 2 Infantries, cut these from the deck. Maybe actually I wouldn't cut the Ran. And then cut these 4 and then put in 2 Talents. And that's probably what the list would look like for the future. And yeah, so that's really it for the main deck. 43 card list, hybrid variant. On to the extra. Definitely a lot of cards here that just did not get played. Zealantis, King, Lacia, Coral, and Abyss Keeper. I made this once for a Pike summon, so, it really didn't do anything, but I guess it's good to have for insurance. But then once we get the new support, this card gets instantly cut because the new rank 7 can summon Deep Sea King from the graveyard, so Deep Sea King instantly becomes a much nicer brick to have to play with. And then 1 Coral. The second Coral, as we always wonder, does the second Coral ever come up? No. For me, it did not. There were 2 scenarios, I think, during the day where it technically could have come up, so plays could be easier, but in reality, the second Coral never actually came up. Lacia and King, these cards got played almost every single M board. These cards were really strong. Same with the Coral. These 3 cards get played every single game. And then Zealantis, who would have thought? Never made it. So another big takeaway with the day was that all that really mattered was that can you get going? If you can just establish a body or 2, then you're probably just winning. But a lot of the decks right now just keep you from going second. You just can't start playing. And so you just kind of have to break that barrier, break that wall. And the minute you break the wall, you're fine. You're winning. So there's a lot of cards in here, like the Zealantis. And technically, even the Abyss Keeper, I didn't really open Deep Sea King many times today, but this would be a similar card where even if there were opportunities to play it, I didn't really have them available to me if I was already losing the match to begin with, because I just couldn't get going. So these cards were a little odd. Don't know how I feel about them. This card has to stay until the new support comes out. Zealantis, maybe he even goes back to getting cut. I don't know. There's definitely different options I want to try out. And then the Gaios, Poseidra. I made Gaios quite a few times. Gaios was really strong as an M piece. It was pretty good into Fluoros. And then I only actually ever summoned the Poseidra one time. One time I got Solemned, which sucks. You don't get the graveyard effect. And then the other time I summoned Poseidra, the minute he read it, he scooped. And that's another thing I noticed is that people are just scooping left and right. I'm used to my locals where, for the most part, people wait until I finish you off. And so I feel like, but then at a regional, people will just they'll just read a card and then go, oh, so you're gonna beat me. Oh, I'm just gonna go to the next game. Next, play Dweller here. Dweller's, I made Dweller one time, so I could force out a. Oh, what was it? I think it was a Lacrima. I made it one time, forced a Lacrima, got a Dragoon Search, the Dweller got popped, it did its job, so that was fine. And then I played 2 Bahamut, 2 Toad, Standard, and then Synchros, I played 1 Lancia and Trish. Now, I did actually make, I made Trish, I think, twice, once summon off the Lancia. Trish was fine, I guess, and then I did make Lancia quite a few times. Most of my M boards were double Toad Lancia or Toad Lancia, with King in the mix and an infantry pop. And yeah, the Lancia was okay. It was a lot weaker with the 1 Toad, but if you just have, but the 2 Toads were definitely stronger than Toad Lancia. That's, I think, another thing I did learn. Just objectively, whenever I had an M board of double Toad, it would have been better than the Toad Lancia. But then double Toad Lancia was just it was GG's every time. And then excuse me. and the one Porpoise. Never made it. I was really sad about that. I really thought Porpoise was a good card. I still think it is a good card. I'm still playing it. I still think it's worth trying out. But it's just I think if you want to expend out of all of these cards, Zealantis and Porpoise, and we can technically look at Trish. Out of all these cards that kind of like play after you get going, I think Porpoise is the best one, just be off the fact that it gives the Beside something to do when you summon all the 3 bodies back. I just not got to do it, so that was really sad. But I'm not giving up on him yet. Changes I would make to the extra deck. I'd probably try cutting the Zealantis, cut Lancia, cut Trish. Let's see, and that would be it. And I would probably just replace these with a Chenying. Probably try out the Kraken, because if I'm cutting Lancia, I need something for Shifter, so I'll probably cut for Kraken. And then, in the main deck, I would also play the Virtue Stream. I did actually miss the Virtue Stream, and the Leviature Dragon in the extra deck. Something for like your level 3s to do. But yeah, you can definitely go like the Kraken Bahamut into Leviature line under Shifter with the Deep Sea King variant. Deep Sea King Turbo. You just summon out 3 4s, and then if you have like a normal in hand, like a Perulia or a Dragoons, then you can normal summon that out, and then go Kraken, and then go other 2 4s. You go Bahamut, and you summon Leviature, and then Leviature will search Virtue Stream, and so you have a double pop from the trap. You have the Kraken pop, and then I don't really know what you could do with your remaining. You just kind of have a Deep Sea King sitting there and a Bahamut sitting there, but if they can't kill the Bahamut, you get that follow-up for a Toad next turn, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's probably what I would cut these for, to try out from my last time getting to play this deck before the new support. And then on the side deck, so Lancias, loved them, obviously. Lancias are great. Don't really need to talk about those. Kill Malice. So this was a last minute decision I made to play 3 Nibs, and while Nib was a fine card and it did help me and it definitely won me, a single game out of strictly variance, which is something I can't really count on, but that did happen because I played the card, so that's nice. But overall, it's not that Nib was bad, it's just that all of a sudden my sighting patterns got really odd because I'm also playing double Lightning Storm Harpy, and I just noticed a huge confliction. Whenever I wanted to side in the Nibs, it was the same time I wanted to side in double Lightning Harpy, and now I'm just over here like, well, do I really want to risk Charming or not opening Charming and opening like Lightning Storm Nib, and I nib their board but I can't clear their follow-up? Like, that just seems really odd. So I would typically choose to put Nib in, and the first time I did that versus Pure, I lost because of it, because I opened Nib and the deck plays around Nib like just in engine, just purely, so I wasn't able to deal with it. And I was also really afraid of Dweller, which I didn't have proper siding for. I cut the droplets last second because I decided that the card economy for droplet wasn't made it too like a low value card in that matchup, and that it wasn't worth playing. And I still agree with that. It's just I have a different card I would want to play. But yeah, so the Nibs, as much as I like them for Malice, I don't know. I have a hard time deciding whether these stay or whether these stay. Undecided at this time, but the Nibs were fine. It's just that they were not going to Pure like I thought they'd be, and I was just a little late when catching myself up to I need to be siding these instead of the Nibs. But Nib versus Malice is pretty nice. So it's yeah. And then I also played Shifter Droll for the triple crossout. Also, Nib was a crossout target, and yeah, crossout was cool. Mainly the cool thing about crossout was I hit the Charmies, which felt awesome when I did. I hit a Nib with it as well, and then I hit an Ash once. I really never cared about Droll. I got Drolled twice, and I couldn't have been happier. Like, this deck plays the way I play the deck. I play so well in the Droll. I'm scarred by that card, so that card is not a problem. And then the last card here is the extra deck card, Chenying. When I would go second, I didn't want to have. I didn't like going second, siding out General, but then having the Lancia sit in my extra deck, it felt like, well, why am I siding out General? Like, it makes Lancia a lot more of a low value card. And while that might still be fine, and technically you could still play Lancia anyways, just to have like a body and then it follow up into Trish and even just scare them, like have like a mental mind game. I just wanted something a little better, and I was really afraid of going into a regional without the Chenning. I think Chenning is probably the strongest level 10 we have. It's the most proactive one. It plays a lot. It synergizes with a lot of cards in the game right now. It has nice protection effect versus detonator. So yeah, I really like it, and it's a big body, so it's helpful to crash into stuff like Chaos Angel or whatnot. But yeah, so whenever I would go second, I would side out the Lancia, side in the Chenning, and having Trish in the extra deck was fine. It never came up anytime going second, but theoretically, besides your play, Trish is still a live card where Lancia was a lot more lower value, because I would typically side out. I would typically only side out Call by Grave, the Moulin, and the General going second. I'd leave all the rest of my engine, and then other than that, I would only play with my non-engine. Like versus Malice, you're siding out the Perilios, and then versus and the Imperms too. I saw the Imperms at times. And then there was other matches where, it obviously matchup dependent. But yeah, so we played Chenning. Chenning was cool. When I made it, it did its job again. But I will also say though, now that I'm really thinking about it, I didn't make Chenning too often going second. Like, it almost never mattered anyways. But I still prefer having the Chenning as an option over the Lancia. So I don't regret this side deck decision. So what I would change in the side deck is I definitely want to give the thrust package another try. So like these would become thrusts. And then I probably play like Sanctum and D-Barrier, and then I probably just play one Harpy, one Lightning. I don't know if there's anything. And I would have Talents in the main as well, so I have Talents as another thrust option. And I would have Virtue Stream, which I really like that Dex was doing. That was a really cool thing about his deck profile that I wish I'd taken more into account, was using Thrust to set Virtue Stream. That's cool. But then the Chenning would just go straight to the extra deck because it'd be cutting the Lancia. These Lancias would stay, and then with these 4 remaining slots, I don't know what I would do. I think, the one card I would, this one slot would be an engine piece that we'll go over when I play it. But the nibs would probably just have to go out, and they'd probably just have to become XC Encore. Realistically, XC Encore I think is the best card in the Dweller. I also think it's an okay card in generally, because you can also hit Detonator with it, and it puts it back in the extra deck, which is really important because that way they can't use Plug and get it back. So I like that. You could also technically hit Caesar with it if you really wanted to. I probably wouldn't side it in for that matchup, but if you're siding in for Fiendsmith Ryziel, then it's going to go in anyways, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think XC Encore is the card. Also, it'd be nice to have that so you just freely hit the Pearly matchup whenever you come across that. But yeah, those are probably the side deck changes I would make. But yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I got a lot of reps in the deck. I got to learn that I'm not practicing at my full capacity, and I need to be putting some more effort in and just step out of my comfort zone in terms of locals that I'm competing at, and just start playing against other good players and getting better at the game, because I'm sick of being bad, and I want to get an invite, sure, but what I really want to do is I want to top. I've never topped before, and I know I can get that with this deck. So that is the goal. Yeah, long discussion here. Hope this all made sense or whatever. I don't know. I'm just rambling. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.